to talk to you all about class participation. Class participation is one of the most important ways that you can engage with the GSB and enhance your own learning. But it can be hard. If at the end of this talk, you're going to have several effective tips to learn to participate in an effective manner. But first, let's take a dive into a typical GSB classroom.
Shimano, I hope you guys read the case. In the 1980s, Shimano introduced a phenomenal drivetrain that revolutionized the biking industry. Who can tell me what was the competitive advantage that Shimano pursued back then? Don't make me cold call. Kathleen?
I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think they might have been going for perceived quality.
I disagree. I'm not an expert by all means in drivetrain, but I really think it's low cost.
Leo.
Shimano pursues a perceived quality competitive advantage. They do this in several ways. First, integrated drivetrain really provides a superior riding experience for end users. They also do marketing and sponsorships to reinforce the perception of quality to other users. In terms of costs, they use code forging skills that allow them for increasing willingness to pay without an equivalent increase in price and cost.
And pause. How many of you have been in classes where comments like the ones made by Stephanie and Kathleen added zero value to the conversation? I know I've been there. And you just want to choke those people. But it's comments like the one made by Leo that actually add value to the conversation and move it forward. So we're here today to talk to you about class participation. Why it's important. Why it's hard. And how to do it effectively. So why it's important? Well, for one, it enhances learning. Each one of you has a unique experience, and we're here to learn from each other. The case method, which a lot of the classes at the GSB depend on collaboration between the professor and the students. We want to hear what you have to say. So by sharing your experience, you're not only enhancing your learning experience, you're enhancing the learning experience of everyone in the class. 2, grades. I know you all want to get good grades. If you don't know already, participation will account for a large portion of your grade at the GSB. And if you're one of those people that are going for the RJ Miller status, trust me, you're going to need those points. And if you're like me, and you're going for the Friends of RJ Miller status, then you also need those points. And lastly, build reputation. Class participation will be, for many of you, the first time your classmates will hear your voice. So try to build a reputation for yourself from the start through class participation.
So we know class participation is important, but it's also really hard. Participating in class can cause a lot of anxiety for a host of different reasons. There's cultural elements at play, diverse backgrounds or limited experience, and the social factor of talking in a large group. Cultural differences can be really challenging at the GSB. If you're coming to a new country, you're maybe speaking a language that isn't your first language. In some cultures, you should really defer to the person of authority, or it's really not commonplace to dissent publicly and openly. But we want to remind you that the majority of the GSB students come from all over the world. 40% of the students are international, and we have representation from 53 different countries. So you're not alone. How you feel, there's somebody else in the room who feels the same way. Another concern often comes with your background. I'm just out of undergrad. I've only worked a year or two. I don't really know anything. Or I never worked in finance. How can I participate in a finance class? Well, actually, asking questions is one of the best ways to participate. And what you bring, your background and your experience, is really valuable in the classroom. And just a reminder, all of us at the GSB come from lots of different industries, and even traditional backgrounds of consulting, finance, investing is only 40% of the class. The rest of the class has experience in manufacturing, clean tech, government, education. All of these things are super valuable to the collaborative learning environment. Finally, the social impact. This is tricky because it's hard to speak in a room full of people. And I mean, we've talked about how people are more afraid of dying, or people are more afraid of public speaking than they are of dying. But Leo is here to help you address this kind of issue and learn to participate effectively in the classroom.
You all know that class participation really is important. You also know that it brings a lot of risks and anxiety related to it. What we want to share with you today is a simple framework that will help you succeed in a classroom. They're based on preparation, presence, and power. Let's begin by preparation. Preparation is the best way to reduce all the anxiety that you may have before participating in class. The first tip is quite obvious. Just read the case. Know your facts and positions before you come to class. It's also great when we all have such a diverse experience. So it would be great if you have military experience, great social impact experience in Africa, commercial banking. Bring that to the case discussion. Bring your own experience for the benefit of the whole class. And finally, if you are unsure about sharing this in a group like this, have a small group of classmates, a small study group, and share your ideas with them before speaking in the whole class. Now we are prepared. It's time to go to the classroom, which is just like this. And it is true. You are being evaluated 100% of the time, not only by the professors, but also by all of ourselves. The first thing that you should be concerned with is your own presence. How are you being perceived by your classmates? How is your posture? Are you keeping eye contact with everyone or not? And sorry. Lastly, it's also important to be an active listener. Why is this important? You don't want to make a comment that has nothing to do with what's being discussed, or stop in a moment like I just did and just don't know what to say. Finally, you have preparations. You have a great presence in class. Now it's your turn. You are the one who have the power to move the conversation forward, to really move the needle. Bring your ideas in a succinct way and share your own insights with the whole group. It's okay not to agree. It's okay to make questions. They actually help a lot, so other students can see the same subject in a totally different way and better understand the whole material being discussed.
Participation is hard. Kathleen has shared some reasons why. We come from different backgrounds, we come from different work experiences, and when we get thrown into a room like this, the social pressure is high. It's hard, but it is not impossible. Leo shared with us the 3 Ps: preparation, presence, and power. And we're now going to pass out a handout that shares some content delivery tips for your class participation. As you embark today on your GSB journey and go to your first classes and participate with the case method, we want you to keep a few more things in mind. First, keep a broad perspective. It's one comment in one class session, in one quarter. You don't need to be perfect. If you say something that you're not happy with, trust me, you'll have many more opportunities. Also, the skill set is not just applicable in the case method environment here at the GSB. Learning how to participate in large group settings will be applicable to you as you leave the GSB and embark on your career. Also, Learn to laugh. Trust me, there will be a time when you forget the case protagonist's name. Or there will be a time when the class will start laughing, like in my experience, when you say and open your comment for the third time with, "When I was working at the sausage factory." Section 1 knows. So keep a smile on your face and realize it's not the end of the world. And finally, be patient. You don't enter the GSB and you're not going to be perfect at your first day in your classes on class participation. Don't hold yourself to that standard because we're not holding you to that standard. Derek Bolton did not admit you to the GSB because you were a perfect class participator from day one. He admitted you because you are unique, because you have a unique perspective, because you come from unique backgrounds with diverse experiences, and because you have something to say. Please bring that to the classroom. We ask you today to bring your whole self to the classroom, to participate and commit to raising your hand in class. In fact, we're going to give you an opportunity to start today as we now open it up for questions. Yes?
I wonder, like in your example, are you kind of prizing the perfect comment in a way that maybe sometimes saying the wrong thing or saying a half-formed idea helps the class get to ultimately where everybody needs to be, as opposed to just somebody raising their hand perfectly outlining what they read in the case, how it fits into what we're learning, and therefore what the answer is?
We're not saying you have to be perfect. That's not exactly what we're trying to say, and hopefully it didn't come across that way. What we are saying is we want to alleviate the stress and anxiety of you to actually raise your hand. So if you go through the preparation and think about how you come across in class with presence and know that you do have the power to move the needle, it can help you be in a place that you're willing to raise your hand. I think all of us would agree that there are comments that are sometimes half-formed, that aren't maybe correct, that really do help move the needle and move the conversation forward, and we encourage those as well. We just want to help give you tips that will help alleviate any stress or anxiety to encourage you to raise your hand and participate in class.